This is my hot take on the debate that took place last night, September 10, 2024. It's not exactly hot because it took place last night, but I got to tell you, I didn't feel like doing it right after. I was so frustrated. I almost threw things at the TV. I think a lot of you probably felt the same way. And I felt frustration like I do at every debate that takes place when the mainstream media, being the moderators. This was particularly atrocious. There's no doubt that's true. Why do Republicans keep going back to their abusers? I think we need a psychological profile, but it's expected. It's the norm. I think this was particularly bad, and it stood in huge contrast to the actually legitimate job that CNN did back in June for the first debate. But that is beside the point. We can't worry about the moderators, but our anger is legitimate, but it's not enough because it's to be expected. The other frustration that I had was I think this was an enormous missed opportunity to show the world, to show tens of millions of people. I don't know what the final numbers were across all platforms, but clearly in the multiple tens of millions of people, what a fraud Kamala Harris is, how she has flip-flopped, how she's changed her positions, how there's really nothing to her career. And it didn't come across. The case was not made. And that was extremely frustrating to watch. So it's not surprising that the polling, the snap polling, the flash polling, including by groups that I think conservatives trust, like Trafalgar, is showing that Harris, quote unquote, won the debate. And I think that's true. She was more polished. She was more prepared. She had her canned barbs. But there's something strange that's going on here, which is while she won the debate, Democrats always come across in the snap polling as winning the debates. I saw people sharing on X the history of snap polling after debates with Donald Trump, first with Hillary, then with Biden. And in every single one of those debates, I think there were 6 in total, there were clear majorities who said that Trump lost the debate. So I'm not sure what to read into that. So it was anger at the moderators, frustration that he wasn't making a lot of the points I thought he could have made, but he was being Trump. I mean, Trump is Trump, and I have misjudged his appeal to voters and his success electorally so many times that it is what it is. But there's something else that I took away from this, and it's showing and it's going looping to the screen just to the side of me here. One thing that I really noticed throughout was the faces that Harris was making. Very condescending, very mocking, very childish, actually. And I think that's actually the one thing I remember more than anything about the debate. Now, I think Trump did a very good job, while he didn't make the points I thought he could have to show how she's flip-flopped, etc. He hit home very hard on the border and on the economy. And I think that, so that may have a lasting impact. And what's showing up in the focus groups that we've seen, and I'm not talking about focus groups, by right-wing groups, but, the CNN focus groups, Reuters, other NBC, there seems to be a disconnect for people between who they think won the debate and how they are reacting substantively. Trafalgar was consistent with the others. They showed, I think, a 15-plus point win for Harris in terms of, who won the debate, but no movement whatsoever in who people were going to vote for. CNN was very interesting. They had an even larger, I think, 20-plus point win for Harris, but they found that on the key issue, the issue the voters found most important to them, the economy, Trump actually improved his performance over pre-debate polling. And similar with Reuters and NBC, that whatever went wrong here, whatever our frustrations are, it's not clear at all how it's going to impact the electorate. It's still a missed opportunity, and that's what I keep coming back to. I don't think anyone who is going to vote for Donald Trump is not going to vote for him because of this. And frankly, I don't think anyone who's going to vote for Kamala Harris is not going to vote for her. But it's not clear that this moved the election. it's not clear that it will make a big result. Now, I've seen people like Frank Luntz saying this cost him the election. I think it's way too early to say that. It may have, it may not have. But what should have been coming out of here is she should have had a collapse, maybe not as big as Biden, but no damage, I think, was really done to her in terms of the polling. It is where it is. And that's a frustration because this was an opportunity to show the country who she really is. So my hot take, which is not so hot, things have cooled off, is that Trump was Trump. It seems to have resonated with the voters who were focusing on the economy. He seems to have made gains there. He didn't score the points he could have and should have scored. And Harris was smug. She was your typical smug liberal. And I see it all over X and elsewhere. They are thrilled with her facial expressions. They are thrilled with how she mocked him visually while he was talking. And that was deliberate. There's no question that that was deliberate. That was part of their plan. I just don't know how that's going to play. I don't think it's going to play very well. I don't think anybody's coming out of this feeling warm and fuzzy about Kamala Harris. And so if her goal was to raise her stature, if her goal was to elevate herself, I don't think she accomplished that. I don't think she did damage to Trump. There have been so many things said about Trump over the last 10 years. It's hard to imagine anybody could do damage. People who are going to vote for him are going to vote for him. But I think she missed an opportunity also. She needed to elevate herself. And a lot of the focus group comments, at least the ones I've seen, is that she never really convinced them that she was going to do anything different. And I think the one thing I will absolutely give Trump 100% credit for was his closing 2 minutes, where he repeated the theme, or really hit on the theme, that if she's going to do all these things, why hasn't she done them for 3.5 years? So very frustrating night, practically throwing things at the computer. I won't say the TV because I don't have a TV anymore. Throwing things at the computer. A lot of frustration with the moderators. They are, people who manipulate our elections every single time. Let's stop going back for more abuse. Can we make that pledge at least? And that's how I come away from it. So my hot take is, I'm not sure how this moved the election, but it was a missed opportunity to deal a very deep blow to the Harris campaign. And now we move on, and there's 2 months left, and almost 2 months left, and we'll see if the trends which were moving towards Trump continue or if they go back to her. But it was all around, if I had to put a single word association with what happened last night, it would be frustration.